Hello and welcome to World Talks on TVP World with me, Ashim Kumar. The European Commission has unveiled its Defence Readiness Roadmap 2030, outlining how Europe must prepare for a potential conflict with Russia within the next 5 years. The plan includes 4 major flagship projects: a drone defence wall, an eastern flank watch, an air shield, and a space shield aimed at closing key capability gaps. It comes as the EU urges a faster defence integration, and Poland secures the largest share of the bloc's €150 billion defence loans programme. Joining me now is Piotr Kaczyński. He's a lecturer at the University of Warsaw. Piotr, welcome back to TVP World. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
Why do we need this? I mean, we've got NATO, haven't we? We've got each country has its own military. You know, we're already sharing military capability across Europe. Why do we need another one?
Yes and no, because of course each country or most of the countries have an army, but not every country has an army. For example, if you look at Luxembourg, it's very small. For example, Baltic states, they don't have air systems. So, for example, NATO air systems are defending Baltic countries.
But that's what we pay for, isn't it?
Yes, but for now, for example, we need to spend more, and in order to be better secured, then we need to coordinate what are we buying, if those issues, those things can be cooperating with each other, etc., etc. Because, for example, we saw in September that we were basically shooting for drones, right, in Poland, but one rocket was basically it's like spending $1 million to make sure that the little mosquitoes are not here.
Yeah, for a $100,000 drone or even less sometimes. Mark Rutte had something interesting to say about NATO's role and its compatibility with this new plan. I think that's coming up.
I can assure you that the EU and NATO are really working very well together. There is no doubling at all. Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, myself, the relevant commissioners, including Kubilius and of course Kaja Kallas and the others, we are all making sure that we make use of the strengths of the two organizations. And NATO is good at the hard stuff, which is the standard setting, the capabilities, the military side. And the EU has the enormous soft power of the internal market, the enormous soft power of making sure the money is there, making sure that the nations in the EU are aligned. And this combination is crucial to work together.
What would you say to people who say, well, look, hang on, there's bound to be some overlap. There's no way that these two enormous organizations are going to be able to work together, but separately.
Oh, they are not overlapping because, of course, member states which are in NATO and the EU, there's many of them, France, Germany, Poland and others, they are in both NATO and EU. So they are not going to say this and this. No, they're coordinating inside their countries and also within NATO and within EU. So there's no problem with overlap. Of course, there are different countries because Turkey, UK, for example, are outside of the EU. But let's put it that they are a bit on the side here. But there's no problem with coordination. But of course, the problem here is United States. That's the biggest problem and the biggest question out there, because there's a moody president in White House, and maybe tomorrow he's gonna say NATO is dead. Maybe not, but who knows? And right now, Europeans are saying we cannot be basically stopped by the Americans, depending on what they are saying, because we need to protect ourselves, because the Russians are out there, and this is exactly what you were talking at the beginning here.
Right. Okay. Now, do all European countries have to subscribe to this plan?
Well, we'll see how divided Europeans are.
But they don't have to, right?
For the moment, there is a talk. And this talk right now is, it looks like everybody's on the same page with different perspectives sometimes. You see, for example, how Spain was what Spain was saying. But also we are seeing different countries with different perspectives. So there are different sensibilities out there, but for the moment everybody's engaged, and we'll see where this is going to take us. The proposal out there that the Commission is starting right now, that it's going to be not for everybody everywhere, but for some of those EU countries that are interested. So don't stop others if the others want to cooperate for something.
Understand. So it's not compulsory. Now, one of the things we've already touched on, but I'd like to see how this affects that, and that's drones. So there's a drone defense wall. What does that mean?
Well, a drone defense wall, we have seen over the years already not only this incident or set of incidents from September onwards against European airports or European airspace, but we have seen over the years how the Israelis have defended themselves against the Iranian drones a couple of years ago, how Ukrainians are fighting the Russian drones, and we see that the exposure of the civilian soft power, if we quote Rutte, to the very not so soft threats, we need to be protected by the system, and those systems, they need to be out there. We need to have it. So we need to buy it, we need to produce it somewhere out there. So now, right now, we saw yesterday, NATO says 2027, EU today or yesterday evening is saying 2026. So there will be something out there protecting us against the drone, effectively, hopefully, by the end of the year, next year.
Okay, well, we wait and see. Now, one of the things that struck me about this whole plan was this. We have been at war, or rather Russia has been at war with the West for the last couple of years. And here I'm talking about, of course, hybrid attacks, which includes cyber attacks. But there isn't anything about cyber attacks or cyber defense in this plan. Does that surprise you?
That's correct. The focus is extremely narrow. Everything that is going on the air, right? We talk about air missiles, we talk about satellites, we talk about drones. All of this is flying, right? So we are not talking about cyber, we are not talking about tanks or anything that is on the soil and or water. We were talking only last week or 2 weeks ago about, of course, this shadow fleet out there, which is cooperating with the drones. Clearly, this proposal that was here is about things which are not so difficult to get EU countries together, and cyber, for example, is a bit more delicate out there. But yes, of course, the threats are there. They are bigger than just air.
Yeah, delicate and important, urgent, I would say. Piotr Kaczyński, thank you so much for sharing your analysis with our audience. Have a good evening, and thank you again.
Thank you very much.
That brings us to the end of this episode of World Talks. Don't go away, though. Lots more coming up. Goodbye.